welcome everyone to the season finale of season 1 of our podcast and the show The Bear.
Yeah.
Today we have Julie and a special guest.
Hello.
My mother is here because, Julie, where are we?
We are not in Rhode Island. We're in Orland Park, Illinois. We are back.
I'm from the OP. That's
We
how
are
you know
back.
me.
Which is like 12 miles from Chicago. So
Yeah.
that's basically in Chicago.
We're basically...
We live in Cook County.
So we're in Chicago.
We're like basically, yeah.
I think
You go one block that way, hop on a train, takes you straight there. So
Episode 8, Brijal. Apologies if it's wrong. We all three of us actually just watched the episode today, just as like a little re-up. But I tried to write down the I wrote, so it's spelled Braciole, but I wrote down Brisjahl is the pronunciation, as if that would help me right now.
Oh.
So
well, that's the episode title.
Okay.
Brijal.
And
Starts off really unhinged.
Starts off very unhinged.
Yeah.
Very.
Carmi is in a dystopian fever dream where he's on a cooking show.
Yeah. Carmi in sitcom mode is weird.
If you think about it, he's on a food media show joking about suicide. Hey guys, that's what I want to do. I was like, he's living the dream. He's actually doing exactly what I want to do. Except I don't want the whole place to light on fire. Is that what happened? Like, he always ends his like episode dreams with like it just being on fire.
Yeah.
But he was talking about the bridge that he jumped off, and then they were doing flashes of the State Street Bridge. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, PTSD moment.
Yeah.
You're getting it starts off and he's just like, hey guys, and he's like unhinged, just talking about his brother killing himself as if it's a sitcom moment. But then it starts to get like intensely dystopian. It gets like flashes of there's the bridge where the bear was in the cage, and then there's flashes of Mikey, and just flashes of like the show like
and like
fire
glitz,
random really quick.
So my mom actually hasn't watched season 2 yet, but one of my notes is I love that chaos editing style of this season. Season 2 gets a little bit more tame.
Okay.
They go more in depth, but I love the random
But it kind of gives you a heart attack.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I love it. It's my favorite,
It
and I miss
stresses me out
that.
so much, but I love it.
I like you actually can feel your heart racing.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely, yeah.
So that was like the beginning, cold open was that dystopian, and then it cuts to him. Are you done talking about the dystopian? And then it cuts to him being at the support group.
Yep.
Which, do you have any insight since you're a support group mediator? What do you call it?
Do you want to go first, or do you have any thoughts about it?
No, you go first. I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Well, first of all, I don't know why his hair is always a mess. I mean, and it was really a mess.
Get him.
You said read him to Phil. He's at a support group. Fuck his hair. Absolutely fuck his hair.
No, but I mean, I thought it was very endearing. He went and sat down and he just talked about it. We cooked a lot as kids. It was our common ground. They wanted to open a restaurant together. But I do have one problem with him going, and this is just on me. But he goes to an Al-Anon meeting, and it's really grief, right? He's really you go to an Al-Anon meeting, your Al-Narc meeting, if you're trying to live with somebody who has.
Okay, that's what I've always been confused on.
You do that if I'm living with an alcoholic.
So Lauren,
I need to get help from my alcoholic brother.
So what my mom is saying is he should actually come to the lost support group.
The
Moving Outreach to Suicide Support Group, which is the literal Chicago support group that you mediate and mentor.
They should have asked me. I should have led the group.
You look like we've gone over that. You look just like the one girl. But I've always wondered that too. I'm like,
that's a big thing I think of the show that they could have done differently is actually put him in a grief support. If it was not just suicide, that's okay. But he's grieving. He's, talking about his brother alcohol and how he wasn't there for him, and that he's guilty on a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's grief support. That's, And
you said right topic, wrong crowd.
Right. Well, I guess if you look at it like that, But I mean, and I like the way he said we spoke through food.
Yeah.
That we that I wanted to fix things, you know, and fix things through food. But that'll come up later too about how they talk through food, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any comments about this part?
Not really, just that, you know, he finally spoke up at therapy. But yeah, I don't know, because it's like, I mean, I think earlier in the season, remember when like Sugar's talking about it, she keeps saying the thing, talking about therapy and stuff. So it's like, I mean, I'm glad that he's going, but I understand what you're saying, and I never thought about that. So
I've thought about that only because I've like been in that situation.
Right.
The only thing I have is like he was definitely saying like phrases that a lot of people say when they lose someone to suicide. So like he walked in the room and took the energy of a room. He could tell like he could read people. And like the one quote that I really wrote down is everyone thought that he was their best friend, but I don't know who his best friend was.
Yes.
Which I feel like is a big thing with people who commit suicide. It's like they are like a lot of times life of the party and everyone's friend.
Yeah.
But like
make everyone feel like the most important person ever. Yeah.
But suffering themselves silently.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a huge one. Yeah, he said, I actually wrote that down. He could take the temperature down off the room. Like, you know, he could just calm everyone.
Calm everyone. Or read the room.
Read the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the only other part I have from this is when he was talking about being at the greatest restaurant, and when a stage would come in, he would look at them like competition. I'm like, finally, we're talking about it. I'm like, like everyone just like you are competition, and that's just how it is. So I'm glad they like brought light to that.
Oh yeah, he's never always like. I feel like in season 2 we get a little bit of it, and like him growth as a person and stuff. Carmi just becomes like, you know, we're all learning kind of a moment, but you get like an insight of earlier in his career and everything. He did think that it was a competition, was like not this holier than thou thing. He was like really in it. So yeah.
And it was approving to his brother that he could do it.
Yeah.
F you.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do it better than you. And I don't need you. So it was like, as his brother was literally pushing him away, and that's when he said, all right, I don't need you. I'm going to do this on my own.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it better than you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was pretty much like synopsis of like the support group part, and then we go into Sydney and Marcus making the sea bass.
Sea bass, yeah.
Delicious. With
so good.
Tomato confit.
Love a confit.
It looked very
It looked very delicious.
I didn't know what it was and what they were saying, but it looked really good. I knew you guys would, but
oh yeah.
It was really good. I also love that I have one note about it is I want them to fall in love so badly. And everyone who's pushing this narrative that Sydney and Carmi get together, I need it to end.
I need it to end.
If you're a producer of the show, I need that to not happen actually at all.
Yeah.
I just want a relationship of two coworkers where they don't fall in love.
Yeah.
But her and Marcus different situation. Different situation. I just think they have so much chemistry.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. I mean, they
Absolutely.
really do.
Mhm.
I just assume that that's the direction that they were totally going
You'll
out.
see in season 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, spoilers. Even though season 2's been out for a second. It takes roads, and then the next thing I have is Sydney's finally talking about CIA.
Yeah.
And she makes the classic culinary kid CIA spy joke.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm going to CIA, you're a spy. Like when,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, I just think it's so funny. I don't know. I guess I thought there's only been a few people at JWU that I've like mentioned CIA, like, oh, I was looking at CIA, blah blah blah, and I've had to be like, the Culinary Institute, not the like government.
You give off the vibe where it could be both.
Yes.
Yes, you give off the vibes where it honestly could go either way.
Well, actually, I think Sydney does too. She could be
Yeah.
a secret
Yeah.
girl too.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question.
Okay.
I don't know anything about kitchens
Okay.
but could you really have a roll of just zesting
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh,
for
yeah.
8 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
it's
8
a little
months.
stretch, but
It's a
you
little bit of a stretch,
really-
but it hones in. But it's like trying to like force the fact that like you literally couldn't go in and chop a singular vegetable your entire shift and do that for several weeks.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Like your job is to cut potatoes. Your job is to cut onions. That's it. That's
And
what
like
you
the
do.
whole point of it is just like the lower people do the shit work, and once you get good, you get to stop doing that stuff. But you can only stop doing that stuff when that stuff's prepped for you, and who's gonna prep it but the low people?
Yeah.
It's like showing your worth, showing your colors type of deal.
Paying your dues.
Paying your dues.
Which I thought was funny because it's like the last thing she forgot to like do to the dish she was serving. Oh wow, I forgot the zest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of ironic.
Yeah, and at the end, she does go. I didn't notice, and so I didn't even write this down, but like she literally takes half a lemon. It's like, I forgot this, and literally squeezes an entire half a lemon on the sea bass. And I said, well, now I don't know about that. That's a bit much.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, someone should have stopped her.
Yeah, but the finishing was, I don't know. It looks delicious.
It did. I just wrote like, I thought it was funny when she talked about like being a broke college kid and not really getting to try food in the area and stuff like that. And then, you know, she saved up all this money and like went to New York and finally got to try out all these like restaurants and stuff. And I was like, that's same, because literally even now, after having lived in Providence for 6 years, I want to say, like, I still haven't tried a lot of the restaurants in the area. I feel bad because, like, genuinely, I think about it, like, a portion of my time, all in undergrad, I didn't have a car. I know that, like, the bus was there, but I didn't have a car. And then I was also broke, and I was, like, working
the money
religiously. Right? Yeah, so I didn't have, like, money to really bool out and, like, go to a nice restaurant and, like, try good food and stuff. And now even, I mean, not that I have much of an excuse, but it's just, like, me and my friends would rather just, like, order in or get Chipotle or something.
Yeah, unless it's Bayberry Garden.
Oh, love Bayberry.
We love Bayberry.
Shout out Bayberry.
That's like the one very nice restaurant in Providence that's very delicious and good. That's the my sister went and loved this restaurant so much, looked at their menu and said, I like that. And then got the Bayberry logo tattooed to her body.
Yep. Yes, she did.
I said, you really like the restaurant. I was like, we need free dessert now every time we come here or something. Like, that's dedication.
No, for real, yeah. I took my family there for my, like, graduation kind of brunch thing afterwards. My baby brother is, like, such a picky eater, and I felt like this was a win for me because he was like, I loved all of the food. I loved every single thing. And I was like, that's a shock for me. But I'm so glad. Like, I'm so glad that you liked it.
That's the restaurant we went to. Or no, that's not the restaurant we went to.
I don't think I've taken you there. No, that's Hemingway's.
Okay.
That's another good restaurant in Providence for this Chicago-based podcast. But if you are at Hemingway's, the lobster mac and cheese is absolutely insane. It's so
delicious. Love it.
So then, do you have any other comments about Sydney and Marcus in that little clip?
I love Sydney and Marcus.
I just think the way they look at each other.
Yeah.
He's like enthralled with her, like holds on to every word she says.
Yeah.
You know,
it's very
their
sweet.
connection. You could tell he's falling in love with her.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So then it's the scene where, I like cracked the code in this episode, but it's in this scene where I discovered it. But I don't know if I should leave it to the end of the of this podcast episode to explain my big case. I think I'm going to.
I think you should.
But in that scene, there's a big something, and I was just like, I'm gonna write this down and see if it comes up later. And then I was like, so when we get to the end of the episode, I will explain everything. Because once I noticed that, I was like, I think this is the best episode of the entire series.
Oh, I think it was.
Yeah.
But okay.
Okay, we'll get there.
I don't know why. I did not remember the bachelor party at all happening. Like, I remember.
That was raunchy.
I just don't remember it. I don't know why. Like, I think I've watched The Bear twice, and this is like a re-up, but I don't know. I just never. I know that Richie punched someone out. I know that he went to jail and like called. Like, I remember that part. I genuinely just the bachelor party itself happening had no memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was.
And
fun.
this shows that like whole scenario shows us like Richie's like the start of his growth because his one call was to apologize. I was like, episode 1, Richie could never.
And I think I wrote down, I feel like when the guy said, like, because he punched someone out and then he's, like, sitting in jail and stuff, waiting to see if the dude, like, comes to and everything because he's in the hospital. And I think that when the guard came up and said the word manslaughter in case he didn't wake up, I think that's when it was like, oh, here are the consequences of my actions.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Being on the other side of that, punching someone, you don't think they're just going to go down like that.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
punched him and then shoved him into the cabinet, and his cabinet hit the his head hit the thing so hard that he passed out. It wasn't just a punch. He punched him and then like threw him into the like basically kind of like that, like a countertop. His head hit it and then fell. So I'm like, that could leave some damage. Like that's whiplash.
I thought he just punched. Okay.
Yeah.
My head must have been down. Or something.
Well, and you were writing, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So then we had that, and then we go back to Sydney and Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I have from this little thing is when Sydney's just like, I just want to cook for people and make them happy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
That's all anyone wants to do.
That's all anyone.
Yeah.
That's the goal at the end of the day of
That's
chefs.
anyone that is in that line. They don't want to do.
And I don't want to work in an ER at all.
And you know that I haven't cooked for love. I cooked out of necessity most of your life.
Well,
but I mean, recipes are good. Marita's taught me that.
Well,
you can follow a recipe and it could actually turn out.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is like you thought you couldn't cook, but then I'd be like, okay, here's a recipe, and then you wouldn't follow it. But then once you started following it, you would like text me like, I followed the recipe. I'm like, you're old. How is this like the first time you've ever read a recipe? How did you get nutrients before?
Nutrients?
Just like
I eat food.
Yeah, but like
but
not like 10-step process.
Not bougie food.
Not bougie food.
4 or 5 steps, 6 at the most.
Gotcha. Okay.
Eating on a run a lot when you're working in the ER. It's not like, let's sit down for a 3-course meal, right?
Yeah. It's like you go to Au Bon Pomme. Isn't that what was in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The soup.
At Northwestern. I don't know if it's there now, but when I was a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
The Au Bon Pomme?
Oh. Yeah.
I remember I don't know, I have a very distinct memory of me visiting you at work when I was little and eating soup there. Because my mom was an ER nurse at Northwestern downtown. So then Carmi picks him up, right? Is that where we're at next?
Yeah. Carmi picks him up.
I think Carmi sat there all night.
No, yeah. I think Carmi waited.
He slept there and waited for him.
Because he was still, this is what I noticed, is that he's still wearing his Birks.
He was still
like his working ones.
Oh.
Like his little clocks. Yeah.
And he had his, and that's, I think, another thing that is really important about their relationship.
Yeah.
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 That helped gel some things,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Them talking about, my one thought too was like, okay, let's take stock of anybody that's like coping with Mikey's death, and the number is 0 right now. Nobody is coping with it. And like when they're sitting in the car, and I think Richie is they're finally talking about things. This is like the start of their growth and everything, because Richie is just like, you're all I have, Carm. Like, you're all I have. And that's real. Like,
That's
real.
Mm-hmm. That was
And like, especially since he called his ex-wife and she didn't pick up.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The only note I honestly have from that scene is the rosary beads off of the rear view car window hanging down is very Chicago Catholic core.
Yep.
I never even noticed that.
They aren't in focus.
Yeah.
I know, but still, you're just really good at picking up those kind of details.
I'm a detail girly.
Very detailed girly.
Okay.
But I was like, the rosary, but I like when like they do shit like that because I'm like, oh yeah, of course, like he would have rosary beads hanging off the rear view window because like everyone does. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's what
like,
you do. Because everyone in Chicago is pretty much Catholic.
Oh, I mean,
for the most part.
If you're Irish or Polish, which is a lot of people in Chicago,
or Italian,
then there's a big chance of Catholic.
Yeah.
So
is there.
And then the next part, I think, is when Richie hands him the note.
Yes, the note.
Oh, I wrote Fack talking to the game.
Oh!
I love Fack. I love Fack.
He was just like...
He's sitting there and he's just like, his head is like in it and he's just talking to the little character and he's like, that's how I hurt people or something. That's it.
Very funny. No, he's hysterical.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And then he just skipped the letter. Yeah.
Yes, then he lives...
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of shitty that he didn't give it to him sooner.
100%. Absolutely it is.
I think differently.
What do you mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, I think, well, I wrote,
Like, he
Like-
put it in plain sight. So, like, if it was found, it wouldn't be crazy. But,
Yeah.
like, he hid it there, right? In a previous episode?
Well, no, I understand why. So Richie found it originally, picked it up, and I get it. Like, he was still pissed because Carmi was coming into their establishment, still trying to run things and stuff. And he's just like, who the fuck do you think you are? And he put it back. And then he just didn't touch it. And so then, think about the course of the whole season.
Okay.
They sit in the car, they have that heart to heart, and now he sees Carmi in a rough spot, and now he's like, okay, here's this letter.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I saw 3 things. I saw him finally like feeling, wow, I could be this guy's big brother. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not Mikey,
Yeah.
but I could be like a big brother to him.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was, I think, felt that Carmen was emotionally ready to read it. Like, he wasn't ready
Fair
yet.
too. Yeah.
And then the third thing, I think he kind of felt like Carmi proved himself worthy of having the letter in a way. Like, okay, now I'm ready to give this to you. Now you kind of proved yourself, you know, which I thought those are the 3 things I got from it. But I think the letter was huge, especially with what's in the letter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I think he said it, I don't know what's in here. Like, he just, like, he didn't
And he
open
really
it.
didn't
No, he
know.
didn't.
Yeah, he didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next I think the next part I have is Carmen finding the little notebook of Sydney's and going through it and then reading it and being like, you just needed acid. I'm like, now why do chefs do that? Like, I actually know exactly what's wrong. I'm not going to tell you. You got to work hard to figure it out. And then if they don't, like, I think that's also growth with him. He's just like, instead of her struggling, I should just tell her that she needs acid.
You need acid. And that was like it. Also, it's just like, after, let's like run back for a second. The last interaction between Sydney and Carmi is, we are not good. And she's out. She's out of there. She's like, you suck. And now it's just out of nowhere, you need acid.
Yeah, I know. She was like, huh? Like, what do you mean?
Saying that, though, was truly his apology, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's how- that's
I'm
how a
not
white
gonna
man would
say,
apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you what makes it perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Typical.
and then, like, when it comes to Carmi being outside to open the letter, I said I would also act like that if I, like, a year after Dad died, found that he wrote me a note.
Right.
Yeah.
Dad didn't leave nothing, except for a text to me, but it was just, I love you. It wasn't deep. Well, I love you's deep, but it wasn't like,
Especially
no.
at the time that it came, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but like, yeah, like, if I, like, afterwards found something that was, like, to me, I'd be like, I don't know, like, that's
Like
crazy.
shaking almost,
Mhm.
right?
He was, yeah, he
I don't
was
know if I should
shaking.
open this, yeah.
Does anyone else have anything about that part?
Not really.
'Cause my next note-
The thing is big.
I want to hear this.
Should we talk about? No, go ahead.
Literally the last things I have is, they start, he wants to make the spaghetti that's on the recipe card.
Because there's no beef came to the restaurant, only pork.
Yes. And so, they start opening up he opens up the can, finds the money, and then they start opening up all the rest of the cans, like the top of the can where they have the date and stuff, it says KBL.
Yes!
He's trying to figure out this KBL thing.
Yes!
Yeah.
Okay, that's what the big thing was.
Oh!
Yeah, so
Okay.
No, yeah. So in the earlier scene, he
Yes.
goes, Tino, what is KBL?
Yeah.
He's like, it adds up to the amount of money that we owe.
Yes.
What is this? Like, I don't understand what is this KBL thing.
Yeah.
And then when they zoom in on the tomato can, on the top of the
Yes.
can, it says KBL.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought that
I got
like,
goosebumps right now.
right? Like, so that whole thing, like, and then, like, it was only the small cans, and the recipe was only the small cans taste
I got
better.
small
Yeah,
cans
I
taste better,
definitely
yeah.
wrote
Yes.
that down.
Yeah.
But yeah, the KBL. So you noticed that
Oh
too.
yeah. Well, I don't know if maybe I didn't notice it the first time that I watched it or anything, but it's also like they don't really address it. They don't address him looking at the can and being like, "Oh, KBL."
Yeah.
But they just show it very clearly. It's like if you're paying attention to the details and stuff, you're like, KBL, and that's where the money was.
That's where the money was, because he
Yeah.
was like, where is this money going? Like, what is this electrician or company? Like, it perfectly adds up.
Yeah.
And it was every single can of tomatoes and how much money was in each jar.
Now, do they get that money then? I mean, is that?
Oh, yeah.
You'll see in season 2.
Oh, okay.
Season 2, they do a lot with that money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have another question about that card. You said, I love you, duck, let it rip.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? Like, I love you, duck. I'm not getting
I thought it was I love you, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I wrote duck.
No, I think it's I love you, dude. And then he said at the beginning of the episode that when he was...
I thought he was calling him a duck. I love you, duck.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Yeah, I never noticed the KBL thing till this episode too, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
That makes a lot of sense.
A lot of sense.
There it is.
And I don't know. It was definitely like. It also makes it seem like his thing was more like planned too. Like, you know what I mean? Because like he was giving the restaurant to Carmi.
Yes.
So instead of he was giving the restaurant to Carmi, so he had to plan this in advance to put all the money in the tomato cans.
Yes.
Because when he gives them the recipe after he dies, he'll know to look at the cans, and then in the cans.
And then and
is
to
the
say
money.
Let it rip. But to me, it was like, here you go. Create what you want. It's your restaurant now. Here's the money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go let it rip.
Yep.
You know, and then he took down the sign and put up
The bear.
the
bear's
I
coming.
thought that was very, very
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And then how it ended with the family dinner again. And
Oh,
then
so wholesome.
Mikey just smiling. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, that was cool too.
And another thing I also thought of is in the first episode, something that Richie and Carmen fight about is Richie starts making the spaghetti.
Yeah.
And Carmen goes, "We're not making spaghetti. That's
Yeah.
not on our menu. It takes too long to prep. No one eats it. We're not doing it."
Yeah.
And Richie's like, "No, this spaghetti is part of our menu. It's like a tradition. People eat the spaghetti. We need to make it."
Yeah.
So like, technically, if they kept listening to Richie, they would have eventually found the
it
money
earlier.
But he didn't listen to He didn't
Yeah.
listen to Richie.
Yeah.
I don't think Richie knew about the money.
I don't think he did either. No.
But
they would've
if
found
they,
it.
if I was Richie, I would have been like, so if we just listened to me in the first place, we actually could have had this money a lot sooner,
Right,
and
right.
made it a lot less complicated.
Yeah.
But I thought that was like a very full
Yeah.
circle, full circle.
There were
moment.
a few too, because
Good.
it was like that with the spaghetti, but the other thing when the delivery dude shows up and he has like the wrong thing or like the wrong, you know, the first episode it was the wrong quantity,
Yeah.
and then in this time it's the wrong like kind of meat, and then the music starts again. It's like da-da-da-da-da-da, and then it's back to that.
It's
yeah.
back right to the first episode.
Yes,
Which
yes.
I love.
Oh yeah,
Making the spaghetti,
Mm-hmm.
which is how the first episode starts, is making
Yes.
the spaghetti.
yeah. So that
That's
it
another
just
cool detail.
Mhm.
very nice, very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah,
Very, very nice. And then they all sit together and have family meal
yeah.
and
Yes.
eat all together, and it's
Yeah.
you can tell that good vibes are ahead. But it was such a
Oh,
cool
yeah.
season finale.
Oh, yeah.
that's great.
You would have never suspected it.
No.
Like, and it obviously was so well written that like they had enough time to pay attention to all the details. Like
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah.
And it like closes out all the things you wanted to be closed out in season 1 with opening up this new door for season 2.
Yes,
It was
because
just
season
so
2, people who are listening to it probably listened to it, but
Yeah,
or watched it already. But
Yeah.
season 2 is about them prepping to open the restaurant.
Okay.
right. Yeah.
But
Like
like,
you said it on the sign, it's coming.
yeah, I
the bear's
thought that the second season was gonna be them with the restaurant, but it's about build how hard it is to build a restaurant to
Yeah.
that style
Yeah.
and that size. And I was like, I just like that because
All
like,
the prep and stuff like that. Yeah.
well, the prep, all the money.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
if we want to actually all look nice in uniform, well, now we have to buy expensive uniforms. Oh, if we want
Right.
the restaurant to look like this and have this countertop, like we have to, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
So,
Passing
Well,
all
that
the
was
times,
something
yeah.
that they did too, towards the end. Carmen and Sydney were talking, and it was just like kind of one words, countertop. You know,
Yes.
Mhm.
It's the same thing like the text thing where he's just like, you need acid, where it's just like Danish finish. Yeah. Or Danish styling. Or
Yeah.
whatever. She's like, yeah, like that's just that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like they kind of finished each other's sentences.
Mhm.
yeah.
That was
I know. You like,
Oh, maybe that's the reason why people are thinking that they're the love interest. I don't see that at all.
No,
I mean,
I
on
just
season
think
one,
no.
I don't see
They have a good connection working together
Working
wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
all praying. That
people need to
doesn't
stop.
happen.
People need to stop.
But I think, is that all for this episode? Do you have it? Oh, no. The reason why you're actually, I'm putting her on blast. The reason why I chose my mother to be the special guest on this episode is because when she was when you were watching it for the first time, because if I'm going to go for real, this podcast was supposed to end months ago. So at that correct timeline, she watched it and you were like, I love the season finale of season 1, blah, blah, blah. And I would so date Richie. And we need to talk about that because... What? Why would you date him?
Because he's very endearing. Like, he's abrasive, yet he's very soft. There's a real soft part of him. Like,
Yeah.
And that's...
He's also so messed up.
Well, is he though?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
No, I think it's more like
You're
Harley.
the odd one out of this.
He's so Chicago. He kind of looks like my first boyfriend from way back when, and
The one you see at the gym?
who became a Chicago cop. No, I don't know. He kind of looks a cross between Tim and also from Coldplay. Who's the guy from Coldplay? Chris Martin. I don't know. He kind of has that look to him.
And if there's something about my mom, she loves Coldplay.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that there's just, underneath that, there's just a lot of hurt. I mean, but he's actually he's a real soft guy, actually, I think.
Yeah.
I think he has...
And at the end of season 2, for sure, totally understand that.
Yes.
At this episode, though?
At this point,
I know.
whoa.
Well, I could see it coming, even
Okay.
though I didn't,
Yeah.
even though I didn't see it. And I saw him with his daughter, Eva. He's really good with her,
Mhm.
and I think he's really remorseful for whatever happened with his wife and,
Yeah.
and
Well,
her
then
dad or something.
She's never watched the family episode.
We just need to have you back as the guest after the Forks episode, or just for the Forks episode.
Yes.
Okay.
Forks
'Cause I think
is going to
that-
be your favorite episode of all
Like,
time.
for me-
If you're a Richie guy.
Yes, for me, I've had qualms with Richie from day one. I hate him. He's so annoying. Like, literally, if I was in that same work environment, I'd be shitting on him every single day. Yeah, it's just the worst. But the growth of him, definitely, I see that more in season 2. I think though.
I guess I just saw it earlier.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
older and probably wiser in some respects. I could see his potential
Okay.
than you guys did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And he also looks a little bit like Tim Casey.
Ooh. I don't have to. We'll bleep the last name. I'll bleep the last name. No, the reason why I asked it was the gym because one day my mom came back from the gym and was like, saw my ex-fiance at the gym. I was like, that's not a sentence you hear every day. And you introduced him to Cody.
Yeah.
Which was a weirder
That was
factor of this
weird.
actually whole story.
Oh my
but
god.
but I think that concludes this episode. But we
Yeah.
have a little
yes.
business. So since this is the end of season 1, and we have realized that when the academic school year starts, because I'm still on the academic calendar, even though I have a full-time job, it gets immensely busy.
Oh yeah.
And when students are back in town, Julie gets busy because now people are eating the ice cream because there's people in the city.
Yeah.
So we are going to take a break until next summer, but Julie has some exciting news.
Hey guys, I'm moving to Australia. When will I come back? Don't know. It's a one-way flight and it's an indefinite thing. But we might be back in Rhode Island doing some episodes. We might be doing things over Zoom.
We'll see. But
we'll see.
Next summer we are going to continue on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I enjoy this a lot.
Oh, definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you'll be hearing back about season 2 of The Bear, and then maybe we'll be hearing anything about season 3 of
I
Bear,
hope. That's
you know?
what I'm hoping. I hope we're
Yeah.
just like one season behind so
Yeah.
people can...
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And then podcasting.
Oh, do you want to do your announcement?
No, I can't do
Hey,
that. I'm
guys.
not too soon. It's too soon.
Well, let's just say my mom's taking... Well, you sparked the seed of the idea of a podcast. I said, that sounds good. I'm actually going to do that.
That's right.
And so then I did it. But I guess the origin is you. So soon, if you enjoyed my mom's analysts and her voice, you can listen
Yes,
to her future
I can
podcast.
listen to it and
Yes.
see if I like my voice. I think you have to like your own voice.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
you won't like it.
Oh no.
No, I can't stand listening,
Oh,
editing
okay.
things
Oh,
with my
right.
voice in
Yeah.
it.
I think it's fun. I think it's like we're hanging out again.
Fun.
I was actually driving across the country listening to us hanging out.
Oh, did you listen to an episode?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. No, I haven't. She said that coming from Rhode Island to here, she listened to an
Yes.
episode. Like I haven't
I was
recently.
surprised you got through it without saying without crying when she just said she was leaving.
I've cried. I mean,
Well, because we knew we were going to still see each other in Chicago.
Okay.
tonight is the
So-
tears.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but tonight
yeah.
is it.
I know. Okay.
Ah.
Jesus. I guess tonight is it.
It's the grief counseling coming out.
I
man.
guess. I'm also just like Julie's coming back. Julie's
Oh
coming
yeah,
back.
yeah.
That's true.
Her
I'm
stuff
telling-
is in Rhode Island.
My stuff is in Rhode
At
Island.
some point,
I'll be back.
you have to come
I
back.
have to come back for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, you
Mhm.
never know. This
But yeah.
is a wonderful adventure for you.
it is, and I'm like,
an
listen,
opportunity.
I'm making a huge point of telling people I'll see you later because I do not want to say goodbye because it's not goodbye.
Mhm.
Reality of the situation is, yeah, my stuff is in Rhode Island. Like, I have to come back at some point, and also, I'm just a kid. Like,
Right.
it's not.
I am
permanent.
simply but a little girl.
I'm just
Just
a little girl.
And you got to Australia for $260.
Yeah,
So
I did.
there's that.
There's that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey guys, American Airlines deals.
So, well, that is the conclusion of this episode. Thank you for being.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate this.
You're welcome. It was honestly just to ask you why you're in love with Richie because I didn't get it. I was like, I need to understand
still
why.
just gotta know.
Not
No.
well. It's just like
At this point, still no.
At this point, no. Like, still no. But like,
Oh, I saw it coming though. Like he's gonna be a really good guy. I think.
Yeah.
you also have liked crazy men in the past, so it wasn't too crazy.
Yeah.
Off
All right,
brand.
this is its ending now, right?
Yes, we're ending, and there's someone at the door, so we
All right,
gotta go.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.